Are you looking for all the latest pro football news and content? Of course you are. Who doesn't love football? The question is, how do you get all the latest pro football news and content? There's so many different pro football podcasts on the internet. Which one do you choose? Which one is the right fit for you? Well, you go with the Cross the Middle Show, one of the fastest growing football podcasts out right now. Over the past year, we've climbed the Spotify rankings, become a show you have to listen to if you're a football fan. Find out if the Ravens will go all the way with Odell Beckham Jr. Find out if the Eagles did enough to make it back to the Super Bowl. You'll get all of our best stories for just $1 per month. All you have to do is sign up by clicking the link in the episode description box. So I'm John Kuzma. This is the Cross the Middle Show. We have another great episode for you. We're going to talk about the Aaron Donald story. We'll also touch on Deshaun Watson and what he's going to do going forward. Let's start with the Aaron Donald story. So the past 2 or 3 years, Aaron Donald has debating whether or not he should retire. So he's been dropping the retirement line for a couple of years now, 2 or 3 years. And we have to talk about whether or not the Rams should trade Aaron Donald if they get off to a slow start. Now, I think my response to this will shock you guys a little bit because I think the Rams should trade Aaron Donald because if he's been hinting at retirement for 2 or 3 years now, he's obviously getting closer to retiring. And if he just retires, the Rams won't get anything back for him. You know, we see a lot of veteran players get traded for, maybe a couple second-round picks, maybe a first-round pick, and maybe like a bunch of later-round picks. That's the type of package the Rams could be looking at for someone like Aaron Donald, as he enters the twilight of his career. So if you're the Rams and you get off to a slow start, you definitely have to think about trading him because otherwise he's just going to retire. Then they're not going to get anything that can help their team going forward. So, yeah, I honestly think the Rams should trade him if they get off to a slow start. I think they should ship him out at the trade deadline. And there's really one team we know that Aaron Donald wants to play for. He's also dropped hints that he wants to play for this team throughout his career. The team is the Steelers. He's from Pittsburgh. He said he would like to play for the Steelers. Can you imagine if the Rams traded him to the Steelers, how dominant the Steelers would be up front? I mean, you have T.J. Watt, you have Cam Hayward, you have Aaron Donald on that defensive front. I mean, those guys are going to dominate the NFL. There wouldn't be any stopping them because there's just too much on that defensive front for teams to match up with. They would overpower teams. So I think that's one scenario that we could see happen with Aaron Donald, especially if the Rams struggle. They could ship him out to the Steelers at the trade deadline. I love it for the Steelers. Even if they had to give up a couple second-round picks, suddenly you're in the hunt for Super Bowls with Aaron Donald. You're going to be right there, very, very close with Aaron Donald. I think it's beneficial for Aaron Donald, too, because he would be in the hunt for Super Bowls again because I don't think he's going to want to go to a team where they're not a contender. That's just not going to work for Aaron Donald. I don't think he's going to be very happy if he goes to a team that's not a contender. I think he would just retire and call it quits. I don't blame him. He wants to win Super Bowls at this point. That's the only thing on his mind. So the Rams, if they can get a pair of second-round picks and maybe a fifth and a sixth too, then, hey, that's something they have to explore because otherwise they're not going to get anything in return for Aaron Donald. Obviously, it would take a package to get him, kind of like we saw with Aaron Rodgers this offseason. The package gets a little bit smaller when you have an aging future Hall of Famer, but there's still a return there, especially for the Rams. They're going to get something in return for Aaron Donald at the trade deadline if they do struggle and if they do decide to trade him. There's worse decisions to make because if he retires and he just walks away and decides he doesn't want to play anymore, the Rams get nothing. Not only that, if they struggle, the chances of him retiring increase significantly because nobody wants to stick around when a team is struggling and there's no hope. If there's no hope for the Rams, why would he stick around, put his body and his health on the line when things aren't going the Rams' way? I just don't see him doing that. He's already done enough for the Rams. He's been there, for all those years now. Why not try his luck somewhere else, especially if it's the Steelers where he wants to go anyway? We all know he'd like to go back home, play for the Steelers, be a part of the black and yellow for some years and help Mike Tomlin make it happen for the Steelers defense. I would like to see that too. All that talent on that defensive front, they're going to wear teams down. They're going to be punishing. They're going to be physical. I mean, it's everything you're looking for in a football team. I think, you put Aaron Donald on that defensive front. The Steelers are right there. Like I said earlier, they're right there. They're in the hunt. I think they jump to the top of the AFC North, battling, the Bengals and the Ravens for that top spot. It could shift that division in the Steelers' favor. That's how big of an impact Aaron Donald can have, especially when you put him next to TJ Watt and Cam Hayward. It's really going to be an unstoppable force, if you ask me. And it would be one of the more fun teams to watch in the NFL just because they're going to collapse the pocket so fast. Offensive lines aren't going to stand a chance against those guys. It's basically a wrap. You're not going to be able to block those guys. Someone's always breaking free. It's a piece that basically could get the Steelers over the top. That's how good Aaron Donald has been. We all know what he's done for the Rams for all those years. He's had them in the hunt or winning. They won a Super Bowl because Aaron Donald got to another Super Bowl, just came up short against the Patriots. But hey, that's life in the NFL sometimes. The other story we have is the Deshaun Watson story. So can Deshaun Watson build on the momentum he had after he finished the season this past year? So Deshaun Watson misses a year and a half, almost 2 years of football, comes back a little slow out of the gate, but really finishes the season strong for the Browns. Can he build on the momentum that he finished the season with? I actually think he can. I know a lot of people might not want to hear this, but Deshaun Watson is still a really good football player, going all the way back to his time at Clemson, going back to his time with the Texans. The guy can flat out ball. Who cares what a lot of people think? The reality is the guy is a great football player. I know a lot of people don't like him because they think, he's a scumbag for the things he did off the field. Well, a grand jury didn't indict him for anything. They had the chance to. They let him go. Obviously, that tells you something. So it's time to get past all that and move forward because, he was innocent. Well, the guy is a really good football player. At the end of the year, you could see him just throwing that thing, getting back in his groove, really getting back to the Deshaun Watson that he was before he left the National Football League for a year and a half, 2 years. Now he's back in the league, and like I said, the guy is balling out again. Everything that we saw in the past is still there. He didn't lose anything, from that 2-year hiatus. He's still supremely talented. He's still a guy that can throw the ball all over the field. Still a guy that is a leader of a team in terms of his play on the field. He is. I don't care what anybody says. I know some people would be like, how can you mention the word leader and Deshaun Watson in the same sentence? Well, he lets his play do the talking for him. And when it comes to his play, the guy is special. I mean, he is. There's a reason the Browns traded for him, then gave him all that money. It's because the guy is a franchise quarterback, whether all the people in the world like it or not, whether he gets booed in every stadium or not, it doesn't matter because the guy can flat out play. And, he's got some good chemistry with Amari Cooper. If they could get DeAndre Hopkins too, that would be really big for the Browns. Doesn't look like it's going to happen. DeAndre Hopkins is probably going to go to the Patriots or the Titans, but if the Browns can pull off a miracle, somehow swing DeAndre Hopkins, and you have Amari Cooper and DeAndre Hopkins for Deshaun Watson, then you really have a team there that can do something this upcoming season. Otherwise, it's going to be tough in that division with how much better the Ravens got. Bengals are still good. It's tough. It's a tough division. Deshaun Watson is, it's not going to go away anytime soon, and it's going to be the exact opposite. He's only getting better because he's getting back in the swing of things. He's getting back in game shape. He really put in the work this offseason too, so it's getting to the point where Deshaun Watson is going to really step up and make some big plays for the Browns. I like that. I like that trade for the Browns. I know it was tough for Baker Mayfield because he gets pushed out of there, and then they bring in Deshaun Watson. Well, the truth is they upgraded at the quarterback position. It's just a fact. And anytime you can get better at the quarterback position, you have to do it in the National Football League because it's a quarterback-driven league. The Browns got a really good one in Deshaun Watson. And like I said, another year with the Browns, an off season to get in the swing of things with his teammates. Remember, he came back at the halfway point. You know, he was there, but he comes back at the halfway point. Comes back from the suspension, returns to football after a year and a half, 2 years away from the game. You know, he was still shaking off the rust. There's no doubt about that. You know, the NFL is so fast. It's so fast twitch. And if you miss all that time, it takes some time to get back up to speed. And that's where we're at with Deshaun Watson. He's finally back up to speed. He's finally where he needs to be at. He's going to be a lot better this year now because he's going to be able to play in every single game. Not only that, all the distractions are behind him. He doesn't have to worry about all the legal stuff or the fans pushing back. For the most part, the worst of it is in the rearview mirror with Deshaun Watson. So, yeah, he's only going to get better going forward. He doesn't have anything to worry about. It's back to football for Deshaun Watson, and guess what? The guy does football pretty well. I think we all know that. So, yeah, I see him being a top 10 quarterback in the league, even without DeAndre Hopkins. He's just supremely talented, always has been. Guy's a winner on the football field, and it's not going to change. Now, are the Browns good enough around Deshaun Watson? It's hard to say. You know, they lose Kareem Hunt. It's looking like he's a free agent. I don't think he's going to be there anymore. He's probably going to sign with someone else. That's tough. Still have Nick Chubb, but, losing Kareem Hunt hurts. Are they good enough on defense in the other positions? It's hard to say. Myles Garrett, we all know, can play. But we know Deshaun Watson's going to be good enough. Can the other positions be good enough to help the Browns be competitive? Because if the other positions, the offensive line, the defense, if they're not good at those spots, then it's tough for the quarterback just to put a Band-Aid on all of a team's problems, especially, like I said, in the tough division where the Ravens are getting better, the Bengals are still good, the Steelers are going to start to get it together with Kenny Pickett. It's a tough division. So that means the Cleveland Browns need the best from Deshaun Watson in order to be competitive. I do expect him to be significantly better. It's whether or not the team can step up too. That's all I got in this latest episode. Thank you guys for tuning in. I'm John Kuzma. I appreciate you guys for listening. Check out the Cross the Middle Show anywhere podcasts are found. Sign up in the episode description box for just $1 per month. You can support independent journalism. Thank you guys so much. Have a great night.